Hello, Speed Gaming 3. Hope everybody is having a good Saturday afternoon here. We are ready for some Mario Maker races. We took a little bit to get the setup right here because in this part one, we're supposed to run these blind levels they have not seen before. Well, it turns out one of the levels we were going to use had been seen before. So we had to make a substitution. With that in mind, you're always welcome to submit your races for this. That link will be forthcoming in chat. We're always happy for new level submissions for these runners. We challenge them with stuff they've never seen before up front. Part 2, they will optimize 3 of those 5 levels. And then part 3 will be a run through Endless. So this is Snowman's Land with More Spice from Bob McName. Bob's made a bunch of levels for us here on the weekly. And it looks like we've got a nice red coin level with an infinite checkpoint setup. So handy for red coin levels. Shooting snowballs out of the cannons. That's interesting because obviously it's not going to kill you, but it will absolutely slow you down. So, looks like a fire and ice contrast. We got a little lava going on Chaos Legion's side, while Hourglass and Dobbs working with it through the snow. And it looks like we have found all 6 coins between the runners, but they've got to flip-flop places and get the ones respectively from the other side of things. So that's interesting, because there was a lot of transports in that checkpoint room. It looks like we have multiple paths in and out of the same room. That could be very interesting as far as finding the optimum route through here. But Dobbs has the key, looks to be the first one to have done so. We'll see what's on the other side of the key door. And Chaos Legion actually sniped the clear on stream. Dobbs just behind in second. All right, so we head into Super Mario Bros. 1. This is Dr. Levenstein. We'll get that code up in just a moment. Got some thwops going on here. They can be quite the pesky enemy. I think Germdove is working on one of our later levels already, but did a minor edit of the list, so that's understandable and be fine because he still has to complete all the levels. It won't change anything particularly. It's just less pleasing graphically on stream when they're on different levels. So we're good. Got some Link going on here. The Master Sword power-up, of course, the newest addition to Mario Maker 2. Got a boss fight going on for Boom Boom. And another red coin level. And Chaos Legion with a red coin lead as Hourglass finishes up the first level. Exploration for these red coins continues. One of the nicest things about this Master Sword power-up is the ability to do some range attacking with the bow and arrows, so great for sniping some of those annoying piranha plants hanging out on the ceiling. Of course, these Pokies also very susceptible to a headshot, which will take out the entire thing instead of just one piece if you attack a lower section. And Link's shield offers some very effective defense that can ricochet a lot of enemies and a lot of attacks that come at you. If used well, Link is an absolute wrecking machine against most enemies. Dobbs getting coin number 4. Chaos Legion's on 5. Owlglass has his first working on 2. Now, he went for an interesting strat there. I think he saw that the intended strat was to go up, but he's like, hey, I can get an arrow shot in there and save myself some platforming, so. Took a few attempts, but he got it. Germdub, seeing the same thing, is going to opt for the platforming route. It's not a lot, but easy to see where it would be faster to pull off the bow and arrow snipe. Looks like a mirrored section here. Chaos Legion with 1 red coin left to get. Definite advantage so far on this level, but where is that last red coin? Killing the Pokey, you do have an option with the Master Sword power running around as Link. You can do a sword dash, which will just run through the Pokey without the need to actually kill it. Difference, of course, being if you kill it, it's not there. Alright, reobtaining the Master Sword power-up, and looks like the route that Chaos Legion has taken through here has caused him to miss this 1 red coin somewhere, and now he's having to backtrack to find it. So if somebody else picks up that red coin, it's a chance to make up time on Chaos Legion. Dobbs was not far behind coming into this level, but his exploration of it has been a little slower, and Owlglass seems to be the big beneficiary so far, needing just 1 more red coin, and then there's a safety red coin by the key door. Synchronized battling with Boom Boom. Well, that was not a safety red coin, that was a different red coin, which Owlglass has just picked up. Now tied with Chaos Legion for the red coin count. It's like Chaos Legion found the way by switching the on-off blocks. Takes the safety through the claw grips. Finds a Bowser Jr. that's not going to be moving around too crazy because of the spiny on its back. That'll keep him anchored to the ground. But it also means you're not jumping on his head either. So this is a cross between the survival section and boss fight. Chaos Legion gets the job done, has his final red coin, through the door, and clears the level. Meanwhile, Owlglass is onto the fight. And Dobbs not far behind. Alright, so noteworthy is that because Germdub ended up playing those in a reverse order, he's actually at a bit of an advantage because he's already cleared this level, which is Clear Sky International Pipeline by Bob McNay, and has to get the remaining red coins in this level. Whereas everyone else has to clear this level first. So theoretically, Germdub is right in this, if not the leader right now. Alright, so a lot of clear pipes. You have to be careful of it because it looks like in this level you're not always going to see what's waiting for you on the other side. 5 red coins to obtain. little bit of patience seems to be rewarded here. Germ Dove now just needs the last red coin, which is after that boss fight, so he needs to get back to the section where the on-off blocks were triggered and you could go through the top pipe. Meanwhile, looks like one red coin for both Owlglass and Dobbs. Koas Legion looking to catch up to their count. Well, he's found the goal. It turns out the red coins are optional, so score one for Koas Legion, who's now firmly in the lead. So that's big. And it's going to be Link's crossbow training up next. So, of course, Link has the range with the arrows. You can shoot it on an angle. You can shoot it while jumping. There's all sorts of ways you can get challenged with these arrows. But the spike tops deflect it, so that's slowing him down. All right, through the next section. Looks like we've got some arrow tracks to indicate what the correct course for these arrows is. Kind of an intro to the concept section. Chat's correcting me that they were not optional, he just got them all. Well, okay. I just saw it clear and I didn't see him pick them up. That's what happens when you watch 4 screens at once. Thanks for the update, chat. Alright, so these thwomps are movable with, I like to call this shield bumping. It's one of the early techs I was able to find out about the Master Sword. It can move a lot of things. It can move munchers, and this. So he's not able to get that POW. Not sure what difference that makes other than it didn't kill the Pokey. The blocks are forcing the timing here. He's got the on-offs. Now he's trying for the P-switches. Didn't like the shooting from up top. Now he's back to the bottom, but he's got it. But no key. He's got to kill the Pokey too, it looks like. So that's where the POW would have made a difference. One piece left. He's also going to have to repeat the shot of the P-switches, which is far less cooperative, but he's got it. And moving on. There's the flag. We don't need the one-up. Koas Legion gonna take the clear. Alright, this is going to bring up Legend of Weed, A Link to Kaizo. So this should be some light Kaizo platforming here. GFE, one of our testers, says the real strat is to use bombs, which would destroy the moving blocks if you got them to land right. But if you lose your Link power-up, it looks like you're just out of luck and have to go back to the last checkpoint, which is not far behind. Dobbs trying for the off-screen POW hit. Chat says Zelda theme is the name of this week's race. You know, a lot of people are really excited about this new power-up and love to make their new levels with it. We saw that knowing the update was coming, that there was a shortage of people submitting for that week because they were all waiting for the new power-up. So it came out on, I think, a Thursday night. And then we got a flood of levels submitted the next week, which is where some of these have come from. Koas Legion trying to get the right timing on this bomb, low gravity, so it's a bit to figure out. Alright. Koas Legion snagging the red coin up there. I think the answer on this one is going to be how soon you actually pull out the bomb. Very similar to that week 1. Or no, this was the second Ninja speedrun level that Nintendo picked up. One of the big speedrun strats was pull out the bombs early so that they're ready to throw as soon as you get there. It might be a case of you get it ready on the first blue block to line it up. Alright, that time, Koas Legion not getting sniped by the cannon firing a fish in his face. Dobbs up to the same part now. And Germdov gonna get the clear on the previous level. Hourglass still working through the section here with the pokey. So this is a lead that's changed a couple times through the blind levels. Koas Legion had an early lead. Germdov fired back, took the advantage, and then Koas with faster running through the international pipeline level retook the lead. So now we've got Dobbs, Koas Legion, and Germdov all working on this same part here. Dobbs not able to land on the second bullet bill. This low gravity, so it's really... It's not an instantaneous movement thing to get on top of that cannon. You need some lag because of the low gravity. Now, Dobbs might just be opting to explore first, and I'll come back for the red coins on another attempt, but let me find out what this level is like. We also did see a little bit of a different strat there, Germdov doing it here, where he's shooting arrows to keep the bomb up. That makes the timing of the throw a lot more forgiving. But getting the timing of this jump has been a thing for everybody so far. Noteworthy is if you want to prime the arrow to be ready to fire off this jump from the red cannon, you have to be facing to the left. You can't turn left or right with Link. So you have to already be facing that way if you want to grab it with the arrow. Or if you could find a way to get the shot from the right side, you could aim to the right, but that seems like it's going to be a much less forgiving shot. Still looking for somebody to get past this part. It looks like Legion accidentally got out of the level, has to go back in. Now all 4 of our on-stream runners doing this part. And just looking up something real fast. Okay. Got what I needed to. Wearing multiple hats today. That's a little inconvenient. We still got everybody looking to find their way through this section. We've seen as far as a wall of bombs that our runners will have to get by. But getting the coin and advancing through the bullet bills has been a challenge so far. Looks like Koas Legion has conquered that challenge this time. That's interesting that he started over. I don't think he had to at that point. As long as it's not an auto-scroller, you had the time, you just had to land back on the Wiggler. Although if he lost the Link power-up and I just didn't see that because I blinked, then that would necessitate a restart. Got his timing on that jump onto the cannon, but did not pick up the second coin. This is one that's going to force you to work for it. Germdove did get that second coin, though. Now he's here to coin 3. He's got coin 3. Looks like we're going to have to throw a bomb. Or no, it's a waiting section for falling munchers, so Germdove's patience is rewarded. And we've got some floating platforms to deal with. A frozen coin blocking a spring, a little bit different. What have we here? So it looks like he's going to blow it up and find there's the flagpole underneath the ice block, but you gotta be Link to get the goal. So although it's not stated as a clear condition, in fact the clear condition is you have to do this level damageless. Fair to call that a nigh, as the Mario Maker lingo goes, losing the level right at the goal. Now, who gets back there next? Hourglass with a smooth run up to coin 3. So collecting this coin and then seeing the goal is as far as anyone has progressed. Hourglass has broken the wall. Finds the final coin. So going in the door... Well, he may have been able to see the goal there. Going through the door allows you to reset the platforms, which is going to be necessary for this bomb blowing up. Alright, so Dobbs sitting here. I think the answer is you need to... Well, never mind. Dobbs knows more than I do. I was going to say, it looked like the answer needed to be pulling out the bomb while you're standing in the doorway and then going through there. But Dobbs is going to be our first place finisher of the blind levels section. So now we have seen it done. How long till we get our next completed runner there? I thought that might have been a little fast on the jump for Germdove, but he made it work. Not only that, he got the coin with Link instead of needing an arrow. Now has coin 3. Pipe's a little infamous in Mario Maker 1 as being one of the few pieces of true RNG in the game. Pipe's in Mario Maker 2 able to unleash things at different speeds. So Germ Dove actually showing that, in fact, the red coins are optional if you pull that last part off right. So looks like if you could go in there with a bomb ready to throw and had the timing right where you only needed to land on one of those two platforms to stall, you'd be able to do it. But fortunately, not that time. Here comes Chaos Legion, who has skipped the coins. He did not have enough time to get back up on that platform. So that's probably the fastest strat, and the red coins, in fact, make it more forgiving because you can warp through the door, respawn the platforms, and be a good bit better on the timing. But going in, bombs at the ready is in fact going to be the safest strat, but getting there tells you that you could just concentrate on getting there with Link. So it looks like that's what runners are now opting to do, at least on Chaos Legion's side. Germ Dove's still trying to pick up the red coins. Oh, I like it this time. But he missed the bomb throw. Alright, if he's precise on this timing, he might have it. He's got it! Chaos Legion pulls it off! Our second place finisher of part 1. Germ Dove close to pulling the strat off, but he takes the damage and not able to touch the goal. So, battle between Hourglass and Germ Dove on stream. Off stream, we also have Zero Planes competing, but I'm not able to see where he is at right now. Let's switch this audio over to Hourglass. One of the fun things to me has definitely been the new music that came in with Link. So Hourglass working on the timing the bomb strats. He was a little slow throwing the bomb. Germ Dove is here with the key, the coins, so he's got the key. Places the bomb, he's got it, and that's going to be a completion for Germ Dove. So now between Hourglass and Zero Planes for who finishes 4th. Hourglass has definitely been there a few times, but he accidentally killed the Wiggler. Alright, Hourglass cleared the cannon. He's going to opt for the no coin strats. And he'll have to begin again. Alright, so it's Hourglass working to finish out this last level of the blind section. Through the bomb wall. Now he is opting for the no bomb the no coin strats. So gonna have to have the bomb at the ready. Hourglass back to the cannon. Has found his timing on getting that cannon out of the way. Yeah, in this section, a lot more forgiving if you're not going for the red coins. But you do have to keep the Master Sword. Right, back to the cannon. And here we go. We have to wait out the Muncher to move through these bombs and clear out the path for us. So this is interesting. I wouldn't say that it's harder enemies with the low gravity and the parachutes, but what it does is it messes with your timing. You're used to doing things a certain way, and then all of a sudden the timing's different. Okay, Hourglass is here with the bomb, has the knowledge, hopefully able to get it this time. You spawn the bomb in part by using the up arrow, so you can't stand directly in the door path. But we saw other runners standing halfway and then not triggering the door, but Hourglass has it, and that's going to be the end of part 1. Alright, so our runners are able to take a little bit of a break before we move on to part 2. Part 2, they will optimize 3 of the levels that we ran in part 1. And we will see when our runners are readied up here. That is all of them. All right, so this one was one of our quicker ones today in part 1. The International Pipeline. They are off to the races here. Again, this was one of the quicker ones, but Chaos Legion just absolutely blazed a trail through this in part 1. Is a red coin level, got checkpoints, but when you're trying to go fast, checkpoints are one of the things that get sacrificed. Now, usually in something like this, you want to lay down a baseline time before you're out there trying to work it to every 10th of a second where you're starting over if something doesn't go right. 15 minutes is a generous amount of time on this level in particular, I would say, because of how fast we saw it done. And having the experience in it, it helps a lot. Now, one of the things runners might do is try different routes through the level to see what works for them the best. You might even work in a checkpoint pickup that works better for you. So they go by their best time that they pick up within these 15 minutes. Dobbs already has a clear. So does Germ Dove. Dobbs being better by about a 1/10. So when it's a shorter level, and this with these times coming in at now 36s, that's a pretty short level. You can make a lot of attempts in 15 minutes. You tend to see this very, very optimized, and it's not strange to see a couple runners with identical times when it's through. There's a lot of movement in here. Figuring out enemy patterns is going to be a big part of it. Koas Legion's going to put up a clear, and he just absolutely killed that level in part 1. Puts up a... looks like that's going to be a 35.5. Dobbs with the key is about to put in a completion as well. Dobbs' time is going to come in at... we'll see it any second now. A 34.7. And that is currently leader in the clubhouse for Dobbs. Well, not in the clubhouse. He's still out there competing. Leader on the front 9. If I gotta go with the golf analogy, I guess. Alright, we got another key pickup for Hourglass. Yeah, even right down to where you pick up this key could be a point of optimization for these runners. Do you pick it up subworld, main world? Theoretically, the closer you do it to the key door is going to be an advantage because you save a transition. Although, you really do have to take that transition anyways, so... this is a case where if they're not directly mapping the level, they might be mentally mapping the level to figure out, okay, what's it take to get this coin, what's it take to get that coin? And something like that section that just killed Dobbs might be the highest risk section, so that may be the one you want to go to first. So that you don't have a run die there. Lots of considerations when you're optimizing a level. So Nintendo obviously took a play off this concept recently with the Ninja level. The biggest difference with the Ninja levels that they've been doing is you have a week to do that. So you've got effectively unlimited attempts. You basically have as many attempts as you're willing to stay awake for and grind it out. These, you got a 15-minute time limit, so pretty quickly you have to figure out what your route is through a level and then how you're going to optimize that route. Dobbs and Hourglass with a key, both about to turn in times. Dobbs will be first, Hourglass just behind. Dobbs with a world record of 31.3, a 37 for Hourglass. Dobbs definitely took it to that level now that he's got some strats figured out. Koas Legion is currently second place. 4 seconds difference between the first and second time right now. That's a big swing. And Dobbs with the lead coming out of round 1. Koas Legion in second. I'm not really a surprise to see them doing well on the optimization section after they did well with it blind. And gonna be another clear for Chaos Legion here. $34.1. It's a definite improvement, but Dobbs still with a very spicy run there. Leading the way. Couple coins in for Dobbs, but he takes a death. We'll have to begin again. Likewise for Hourglass. And a finish for Germdove is a 35-5. That's competitive for second. It's actually about 1 second off of second place right now. But Dobbs has put up a time that so far has just absolutely crushed this level. Still plenty of time ahead for runs, though. I mean, for as far as complete runs, people could still get 10 to 12 off at this point. Because you also have to factor in screen transitions, etc. So that's why it's not simply double. A 33.4 for Hourglass should be good for second place right now. Checking it, that looks good. You may have heard the snapshot. Rather than typing times in the Discord, Hourglass taking screenshots for proof of time and then posting the PB when he's done. Currently, I think that was only the second or third. Looks like the third complete run for Dobbs was the 31.3. Nobody else touching that yet. I don't think Dobbs has even gotten particularly that close to it again yet. He just had the magic on that run. Is it gonna stand for the rest of this challenge? We shall see in about 6 minutes. It looks like Hourglass about to turn in a time. And Dobbs also about to turn in a time. A 31.7 for Hourglass. That is good for second place right now, and it's the first time that really has threatened Dobbs. 31.7 is about 6/10 off of the time that Dobbs put up currently for first place. Got a completion for Germdove as well. And a 33.5 there for Germdove, I think is currently good for third place. Dobbs missing a jump, gonna start over. Again, now you're at the point where if this world record only moves by a 10th or 2, that would not be surprising. You're probably not gonna make a second up at this point. It's a very different challenge than running these levels blind. You don't just have to finish, you have to optimize just basically every jump. Another key pickup for Hourglass. This is a little slow getting back to the key door. We'll see how the run goes. Dobbs about to get to the flagpole again. Okay, so Dobbs did an interesting thing there. He paused to see where his timer was at because it's faster to start over than it is to take the screen transition. So he was on good pace there, a little slower than his best. But I guess he was looking at it to the second there to figure out if it was going to be better. Is this going to be close? Should I go ahead and touch the flagpole versus start over because that saves me 20 seconds of transition or whatever it actually is, but it's roughly 20 seconds. It feels like a minute when you're doing it. but it is absolutely something you have to factor in as we are under 4 minutes remaining. Dobbs with another key pickup. And he just goes for it that time. So a 9 at the end of the timer, he can tell that it was a 31, and it's actually a little better. It's a 30. Dobbs has improved the world record, and Chaos Legion has just turned in a time. Let's see what we got here. A 31.7. That's either second or third right now. It's second in the Discord. I didn't remember to the 10th what Owlglass did, but I think he did a 31.7. So that could be one where it's separated by the hundredths. We'll see if either one of them puts up a better time before this is said and done. Alright, so I'm going to give our runners a time limit warning. So they are able to see that in the race channel now, and Dobbs has improved the world record again, taking you down to a 30.4. Looks like Chaos Legion's got a key run going here. What do we have as Germdove turns in a finish as well? For Germdove, we have a 31.3 and a 31.4 Chaos Legion. I think those are places 2 and 3 respectively now. 2, 3, and 4, I think, are all separated by a 1/10 of a second or less. That is close. So don't forget, chat, you can vote for your favorite level based on any of the 5 you saw in Part 1, as Dobbs has improved the world record yet again. Boy, he just keeps finding that time on this level. He's scratching it out by 10ths. Everybody else trying to play catch up, but the times have gotten a lot better as the run goes on. All right, so we are about to see final attempts. And of course, we see this a little bit behind actual time, but that's the nature of racing, so we've come to accept it. And they are able to finish their final run. So let's see what our people turn out here. This should be the final run we see for each of them. Owlglass looks like it can squeeze one more start in. Chaos Legion missed the coin, so that's going to be all she wrote there. I will start getting these times in to our handy-dandy spreadsheet that does the scoring for us. All right, so part 2, we had Dobbs take it down with a 30, almost flat, 0.085. Second place for that first level was Germdub with a 30.939. Less than 2/10 between Owlglass in third with a 31.759, and Koas Legion with the fourth place, 31.92. That was competitive. All right, we will get them set up with level 2. That is going to be Link's crossbow training. Well, our runners are at the ready. All right, so Link's crossbow training. This was a lot of using the bow. Of course, it's SMB1 style, with the twist of the Master Sword, of course. Offers a few chances to optimize things, including uses of bombs instead of arrows as appropriate. So this is going to be a case of, again, you're probably going to want to put a baseline time up, but missing those early shots is going to be a big deal. So enemy timing is a big part of this. Alright, took Germdub a few shots to get that lined up the way he wanted. Now going to use the bombs instead of the... never mind, you had to use bombs. I'll be okay. Looking to hit the pokey with the bombs. Now, most runners went after the P-switch first, then realized that they needed the pokey when we were doing this on the blind section. The advantage of the arrows is they do fire faster. However, the bombs can knock a few of these blocks out of the way. The advantage of the bombs is it can take out 2 sections of the pokey at once instead of just 1. Anticipation is going to be key to this level. You've got to tell when your shots are going to be able to get through versus when they aren't. Koas Legion's going to go ahead and turn in our first completion time. Followed not far behind by Germdub. A 133 for Koas Legion. and a 144 for Germ Dove. You gotta hit that P-switch. And the intended strat is shield bump the Thwomp. He raises up, and then we'll knock the P-switch for us. Dobbs trying to rain the arrows, see if he can get the POW triggered. We haven't seen anyone pull that strat off yet, but definitely would be an advantage to hitting the POW to knock the Pokey out of our way. Now Owlglass has bombed it in such a way he's got an open path to the Pokey, but he's trying to throw the bomb over there instead of the arrows. Open path, I think you're going to do faster with the arrows because you can fire them off so much faster than the bombs. Now he needs the P-switch. Curious question is, do you actually need the on-off switch? You could elevate yourself via that bottom bumper, but I'm not sure you could get the right shot off for the P-switch from it, so it'd be a tight time if you could. Still, that's the kind of thought process you have to have when you're looking for optimizations, is what could I maybe get away with? Maybe I want to experiment with an idea. In a 201 there for Owlglass, so here's another interesting thought. You could probably push that first P-switch over and then not need to push the Thwomp. Will anyone experiment with that? As Chaos Legion is going to get another clear. Oh, he tries to use an elevated bomb to get the P-switch. Didn't work out that time, but interesting effort. It looks like he's investing in attempting this first and seeing if there's a strat that he can pick up to save time. Owlglass is through to the checkpoint again. Still trying to find the right aim on that POW. No dice yet. Germ Dove has moved the POW. Moved the Thwomp, that is. Oh, Dobbs got so close to the POW shot. That's what I'm going to call that, the POW shot. Nobody has landed it yet, but you can see the potential of getting it. Germ Dove trying to move the P-switch with the sword, not having any luck. You can raise and lower it with it. I don't think you can move it horizontally with the sword. You could do it with a shield bump, though. Although it certainly takes time. Pokey out of the way for Dobbs. There's the P-switch. And another clear for Dobbs. Uh, 136 there for Dobbs. So this being a longer level, you're not going to get as many attempts in. Oh, that time Germ Dove got the P-switch to move. That's big. Now he just needs the on-off switch, and then he will not have to move the Thwomp. Gotta throw the bomb, though. Could optimize that just a little bit more, but the potential's there. As Chaos Legion did not have enough time to get back into the key door. And still not seeing anybody hit the POW shot. Although, I think the answer might be throw a bomb instead of an arrow. Admittedly, the entire level is making you think arrow, 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 but that may be a case where it's better to use the bomb. Germ Dub into the key door. And another clear. Alright, Hourglass working on the P-switch strats, juggles it with Link's head. Now I can't get the spike tops to cooperate. They, of course, bounce off each other, so they're closing a lot of these gaps. There's one, but a little slow on the arrow shot. There it is. Now you gotta hit the P-switch. Well, he's gotta get the on-off too. Yeah. Now the P-switch. We lost the Link sword. But he's still through, and that's the checkpoint, so he's got a new one. That didn't cost him anything. Alright, another key pickup for Chaos Legion. Still no one getting a detonation of the POW. The reason I think that would work with a bomb is it'd be considered global ground, so it would still work off-screen. Unless I'm wrong, which does happen. Key pickup for Germ Dove. A little bit off on the jumps, but he's in there. 146 that time it looked like for Dobbs. What do we have for Germ Dove? Mario Maker says a 103. A very significant pickup for Germ Dove there. That's currently best by, looks like 4 seconds. So Germ Dove got to be feeling good about that one. Again, Chaos Legion going for throwing the bombs at Pokey. And a couple of our runners have worked with juggling this P-switch. Although so far I keep seeing them run back to the P-switch instead of shooting an arrow at it, which will trigger the P-switch. Dobbs still working on the shield bumps for the Thwomp here. Once you get it where he's caught on that extended section, a lot faster to bump him out of the way. Looks like Hourglass doing some experimentation at this point, seeing if there's any way he can get that POW. Well, that time, whether intentionally or not, Chaos Legion shot the P-switch. Unfortunately, it runs out before he's able to get the on-off switch. So there is a key that you have to do this order in. You gotta get the POW, you gotta get the on-off switch, and then you trigger the P-switch. Hourglass has it, and he does shoot. Does shoot the P-switch. Got the bomb off, so it worked. And still experimenting with an arrow shot for that POW. No one's found one that works yet. Gotta give them a 2-minute warning in chat to make sure we're keeping it fair, so they've got time. They can start a couple of attempts. I feel like for as deep as you get before you know if it's a good run or not, this is probably only time for 2 attempts. Hourglass with a key run here. And so does Chaos Legion. There there's the POW shot for Dobbs, but the pokey was not loaded yet. He got the shot, but it didn't matter anyways. A clear for Chaos Legion is a 1:06, a very good time. Still, 3 seconds on that world record. What a run that was. A lot of work as they're trying to keep from having to move this thwomp, which just feels so slow when you've got to get a thwomp to cooperate. And a completion for Dobbs. Oh, 125 there. And another completion for Germdove. What have we? 118. This is a bit of an unusual level for optimizing, but obviously there's room to do it. And just the cleaner you do it, it's a second here, it's a second there. I mean, obviously there's a big difference in hitting something with the arrow the first time versus taking 4 or 5 shots to get there. And Hourglass runs out of time on that shot to get into the key door. Dobbs again trying for the POW shot. We saw somebody hit the POW, but not actually get the kill for it. Runners will soon be starting their final run. Dobbs with a completion as Hourglass gets to the checkpoint. This is probably it for everybody. Dobbs with a 109, very respectable. Germdove also a 109 and a 106 for Chaos Legion. I'll get these into our spreadsheet as runners work on some stream issues on their side as well, so hopefully all good in just a little bit. And again, this is a case where it can take a while to finish that last run. Dobbs' final comes in at a 109. And Hourglass at a 127. So a little bit of trouble on that one. All right, so we will get our runners ready for the final optimization level. It's going to be Bob McNane, Snowman's Land with more spice. Also, chat, don't forget to vote on what your favorite levels are. Doesn't have to be one we did in optimization. If you liked one from part 1 better, vote for it. It's your choice. It's the People's Award for what your favorite level of the day was. All right, all of our runners ready. All right, so another one from Bob McName. He's been one of our best contributors for levels through this each week. We appreciate him. We appreciate everybody who submits a level for our runners to compete in. We need a lot of levels for these blind races, so if you think you got one that's good enough, submit it. Our level testers will take a look, see what they think. And maybe one day yours will be up here on the poll with a chance to win some money. Here we go. So, a fire and ice concept. You've got the snow section with 5 coins. You've got the... I'm sorry, not 5, 3. It's 3 each for fire and ice. Got the pokey there. You can stop it, you can ground pound it, but you can't run into it from the side. That's just not going to work. There's a lot of pathways in and out of this, so it feels like there's a lot of time to gain in finding a path that swoops through as quickly as possible from entrance to exit, and maybe puts you on the right path towards one of the coins on the other section. Is there advantage to going fire versus ice first? I don't know, but the ice would theoretically be a quicker warp back to the key door, so it might be a little bit better to do fire first. Damage boost strats, also something to consider. There's a few of these sections where it's a little complicated to wait on an enemy, but if you can just charge through, you're going to be that much better off. So I think a lot of exploration in these first few minutes as our runners see what they can do. Using the slope there does Germ Dove to get that key faster. That's a lot faster than standing around and waiting for the pokey. Every time I say that, I'm thinking of a kid's story called The Pokey Little Puppy. I won't repeat the story. I don't know the status of the copyright. I'm just mentioning that that's stuck in my head right now. And if you know it, it's stuck in your head right now. So, yeah. Chaos Legion exploring. Didn't opt for the slide. Slide's generally faster. We're working at run speed, but you do have to get the actual slide started first. "3D World theme, so physics a little bit different, but it's got to be Hourglass turning in the first finish. 50.4. And second finish will belong to Dobbs. 54.9. You can see that world record down there taunting you. And that tells our runners there's plenty of room to make up on this level, but they've got plenty of time to try and make it up with. So, of course, Master Sword, the big piece of that most recent update and the one that caught the most flash and attention, but this level doing a very good job of representing some of the other elements that came with that update. We've got the snowballs, the pokey, and the spikies as the new enemies. And these snowballs, of course, a great obstacle because they're a non-fatal obstacle. They just knock you back, so unless you're over a pit, that could kill you, obviously. But if it's just knocking you to the ground, it's a way of being challenging without just being punishing and killing the runner every time. So a very, very noteworthy element that was added with that. And of course, it's also been used extensively in SMB1 for being able to use the link tech, and it's also got some tech you can use it for New Super Mario Brothers by using some air stalls to ride a snowball down. Sort of an escort style, if you will. Koas Legion looks like has the key through the fire section going back to the door. Completion coming soon. I don't think we've seen anybody check those warp boxes yet, but I don't know what they could lead to. That would be of any help as Koas Legion turns in a finish. That'd be a 43.9. I believe that's the fastest we've seen so far. So very good effort as the times click lower and lower. You have to consider not only your time versus the world record, but you're competing against a bunch of people and you want to finish in the best place that you can. So even if you're not on a world record run, you might keep going just to improve your standings. Speaking of these fine runners, if you're not following them, hopefully the bot's going to cooperate and give you all those links here in Twitch chat. If it doesn't, those are generally speaking their Twitch names as well. Koas Legion gets it clear. Bunch of fine people putting themselves out here in this race format. The good, the bad, and the ugly. 41 seconds for Koas Legion. Dobbs going to turn in a 39. First time we've seen somebody break 40. And that's what happens as these runs go on. Those times just keep on clicking down. Koas Legion bouncing off that bully quite a bit. I don't think that's faster. But he'll be on to a new run anyways. Germdove almost breaking the 40-second mark of 40.2. Koas Hourglass, that is, gets a 48 up on the board. Yeah, and sometimes the runners are just slow to get that really good time up as they're still experimenting with the level to see what will work for them. And there's a lot of questions still of what's the right order to pick these up on? Can I damage boost to do something a little faster? Exploration continues throughout, but we've got a couple key runs coming up here. Koas Legion about to be the first to get to the goal. Germdove soon behind. And Dobbs also right there. A 38.7 for Koas Legion. A 37.9 for Germdove, and a new world record for Dobbs of 36.6. Just as I finished saying that, Hourglass gets a completion. What do we have? 45. So Hourglass, still some time to pick that up. We have seen the times get lower in a hurry here. This is kind of the point where people generally know the route they're going to take through a level, and now they want to execute it. So they have probably explored about as much as they're going to. And be a little bit quicker on the restarts. Germdove with a clean run to pick up the first 3 coins in the snow section. Chaos Legion has turned in a completion, and that is a 36.7, only a 10th off the world record. Ish. I'm not doing math to the hundreds. Germdove on a key run. Let's see what we have. Maybe a little slow on the upslope. It's a very interesting design on the upslope. I'm not actually sure how you do that. I'm curious. And a 38.9 for Germdove. Bot's ignoring me. Thanks, Bot. But anyway, some great runners. Hope you give them a follow. Hey, you can join them next week if you want to, because this is a completely open competition. All you have to do is join the Discord. Current starting time of 2 o'clock Eastern on these Saturdays. And a key run for Chaos Legion. Takes it to the flag. Let's see what we have here. A 34.9 to be a new world record. So that puts Chaos Legion in the lead for this, of course. Dobbs not far behind. This being a shorter level, there is time for plenty of runs with about 3 minutes left. Probably 4 runs. A little bit more if you're quick on the resets. But as far as full runs, you're probably only talking 2 to 3 attempts at this point. Because again, it's not just about how much time you have left, but partial runs versus complete runs, how deep you're getting into a run. And if you actually touch the flagpole, it's a transition for starting over the level that you're going to be locked into. A lot of interesting mechanics with these snowballs that I feel are still being explored to their full potential. We know a lot of the major things you can do with it, but well, you give creative level makers new tools, they always find creative ways to use them. And I've kind of beat this drum today, but I love the use of the snowballs as a non-fatal obstacle. Those add such an interesting element to the game to me. Alright, Germdove and Chaos Legion both with completions and a new world record of 34.4, a 37 for Germdove. Hourglass about to turn in a completion as well. They are coming up on their final runs here as we are getting down to it. 35.3 for Dobbs. Of course, you not only can see that the world record time has lowered, but you get a pop-up notification. So if you have the world record on this, you know somebody you're racing beats it when they do. And it tells you gotta work that much harder if you want it. It's also why nobody gives up once they've gotten world record, is because these things do fall quickly. When you've got 3 other experienced optimizers running against you, you know that no world record is safe. Time for 1 to 2 more attempts on these. And this will probably be the last run for everybody. So it'll take a bit to see how this sorts out. Looks like Hourglass has time for 1 more run. Just got started with it in time. All right, let's get these times in. Hourglass with a 40.5. Germ Dove a 37.8. Chaos Legion a 34.3. And Dobbs a 35.3. Check with our runners if they want to take a quick break before we start part 3. Part 3, they'll just be running endless levels for the most completions that they can get. Also, chat, don't forget to vote for your favorite level of the day. As we stand right now, I accidentally closed the scoring sheet so I can't give a scoring update. That's where I stand right now. Way to go. All right, we're going to have a 2-minute break here before we get started on the next round. Totally fair. Hope everybody is having a fine Saturday and enjoying Maker races. Currently, for the overall of Part 2, we actually tied with Germ Dove and Dobbs, so they flip-flopped between the 3 levels. Then in third was Chaos Legion, and Hourglass was fourth for that. As far as the overall standings at this point go, it's currently Dobbs in the lead, having taken the win in Part 1. Germ Dove, who finished third in Part 1, would leapfrog and go into second place overall. So Germ Dove would need to beat Dobbs by 2 places in the endless standings to leapfrog for the win. So it looks like Dobbs is going to lock up at least a share of the win if he finishes second. So a little bit of what's at stake there. Our runners readying up for part 3. Again, this is Endless Expert. They'll have 20 minutes. Gotta get my stopwatch ready. And we are off to it. So Endless Expert, runners do not have to start on a fresh run. Some do with only 15 lives. Others continue runs they have had going, like you see with Dobbs and Koha's Legion. So the advantage to extra lives, you're not going to game over. The advantage to a fresh run, though, even though there's a risk of a game over, there is instead no high score animations. There's no delay when you've completed a level. So a lot of this is a question of looking at world records, maybe even the like ratio to get as much information as you can about a level. If you see a troll like Owlglass just did, you might be wanting to get out of this one a little bit faster. Speed runs that are not trolls are kind of a preferred way to go, because those are quick. Interesting placement of those arrows. Yeah, I don't think this is a level I would try for a third time if I were Owlglass. Dobbs has got a whole bunch of enemy spam going on here, trying to look for an opening to dash for that goal. Actually, it's a wait out the mushroom, and now you should be able to get the goal with the iframes and 3 1-ups. So that one pays off a bit for Dobbs. One for Dobbs and Owlglass. Mario's nightmare for Germdove. I am intrigued that Owlglass is still attempting this level. This is, everybody's got to figure out what looks good to them. I don't like a level in a challenge like this if I've seen a troll, because once I know the level maker will do it, how many times are they willing to do it? Dobbs finding a Master Sword power-up, but he got knocked away, so he didn't get it. Germdove having to dodge some bullet bills. Some good strategy there to get into that P-switch door faster, outrun the thwomps. Dobbs going to move on. Oh, he's going to be blocked by that P-switch timer. Oh, this is... okay, this is bad. I'm trying to decide how to describe this. So what's going on here is that P-switch timer is incrementing every time he warps in and out of a pipe. Germdove, knowing what's up, was trying to squeeze every bit of time he could out of that pipe, but he didn't get back in time for the thwomp. This is a case where the level timer, the endgame timer, that one that's counting down from 300, will not reflect real time at all. This time Germdove is taking a different approach where he's run P-switch timer out much sooner as Owlglass gets it clear, and that time he's through to the coins. So he could have been locked into that cycle of going in and out of the pipe for minutes at a time. As far as Mario Maker 1, that was used most famously, I believe the level was called Trials of Time. I don't think that was even actually uploaded, but everybody saw it, and it just really used those elements to advance in the level so slowly that it actually took hours to complete a full run, in theory. So you see that come up sometimes, and it is your enemy in a format like this. Well, got the Super Ball for Owlglass here in an SMB1 level. Some of my favorite music in Mario Maker 1. And you got a Lakitu Cloud, so you may as well fly right until you can't. Checkpoint. I think that was second checkpoint. Looks like a fairly traditional level here. He goes into the pipe in what had to be not far from the goal. Having a boss fight here, and for some reason those on-off blocks weren't switching from the Super Ball. Chat pointing out flying is slower than your running speed. While that's true, it's also a lot faster than jumping over enemies. So it's not a one-to-one comparison unless it's just a flat level. So I think what's curious here is the second Lakitu Cloud, and is there room up that we didn't see? That looks like what Hourglass is going to experiment on before getting out of the level. We saw a wall of ice. Yeah, you can reach the flagpole there, so that was perfectly done by Hourglass. He tried trusting the level the first time, that betrayed him. Then he said, well, what can I do with this second Lakitu Cloud? And he finds the goal that way. Chaos Legion exploring this 3D world level that these piranhas are being a little unforgiving, so Chaos Legion says I'll find something a little bit better. You see the downside to starting a fresh run, and then Hourglass is only down to 5 lives to explore these levels with. And that matters. Chaos Legion exploring. He went under the platform there. You could outrun those thwomps. They took the path of safety. Now we got the Koopa car. And that's the end of the line. Of course, the Koopa car will run right on over the spikes, no problem. Doesn't even get a flat tire. Low gravity new soup. This is fun stuff when done well. You can slow fall so slowly that you're basically vertical. Not vertical, horizontal. Vertical would be normal on fall. You can move at a very, very slow vertical rate with your character in those low gravity physics. It's a lot of fun, as I said, when done properly. Currently, we've got Hourglass with 3 clears, Germdove with 2, Dobbs with 2, and Chaos Legion with 2. This time, Hourglass opting for the exploration. Slows it down in time and into the pipe. That was a very forgiving fall. And there's the goal. So, Hourglass with a clear and a bunch of money to get a 1-up. 1-ups are your friend if you're starting a fresh run. The faster you get some built up, the better. Because you can start a new game and there's no penalty except the time. But it does cost time, and that is a penalty. Or punishing, at least. Not an official penalty, just a feels bad man penalty. Well, Bowser Jr. has cleared out the room for us, so what can we do with these Lakitu Cloud? This is a lot of enemies. Looks like Hourglass is maybe thinking about getting a new Lakitu Cloud. Instead, he found the goal. Again, this is part 3 of the Speed Gaming Weekly here. Part 1, they ran a blind level competition. Part 2, they optimized levels. Part 3, they complete as many endless levels within 20 minutes as they can. This is a hard cutoff. So when they hit 20 minutes, that's it. Whether they're done with the level or not doesn't matter. They started one. It's got to be over. So in something like this, you really don't want to be on a level for 2 minutes. unless you're really, really sure you can complete that level. It's probably not worth a lot of time. Because you're in between the skipping you're going to do, you have to invest a lot of time into each completion. So the actual completion time needs to be pretty quick. Again, going into this phase, Dobbs sort of controlling his own destiny. If he finishes first or second, he's going to at least have a share of first. Germ Dove trying to come from behind. Chaos Legion in third. Dobbs missing a tight jump. It's a precision jump, but not a one gap there. It was a case of... I understand throwing some attempts in here, especially because he's got the lives too. You're not going to get a completion faster than this one. It's just a question of finding the right timing. And there it is. It took 3 attempts. So that was very worth the time. If that had taken 2 minutes to get to that jump, obviously that'd be a different story. But that was such a quick technical level, and he had the lives to spare. If he had been at only 3 lives, that wouldn't have felt nearly so good. But he played it well. Germ Dove with a low gravity SMW level here. A little bit of Kaizo going on here. Looks like you need to do a shell jump in low gravity. And again, even if it's theoretically easier because it's slower, you throw off your muscle memory and that's a big deal. So even if you're good at shell jumps, switching all of a sudden to doing a low gravity shell jump is a different animal. It's basically a completely different trick because the timing is different. But that time he's got it. And this is a quick level to the goal. About 12 minutes in to this run through Expert Endless. These 4 doing battle to get as many completions as they can. It's currently Owlglass with 5, Dobbs and Chaos Legion with 4, Germ Dove with 3. .3D world level here for Owlglass. One of the things you have to worry about with any 3D world level in Endless is that you're going to run into a Meowser fight, which can be extremely slow. Germ Dove down to only 5 lives does not feel good. This is interesting. It looked like the tech for a speedrun level for Chaos Legion, but over 300 seconds and the checkpoint, it's actually not a speedrun. Does not have the key to advance. This time, there he sees the bomb, that gives him the key. Where does the key lead? Glass into an automatic switch level. Auto till. And Germ Dove some good old-fashioned fireball spam kills. Piranhas always feels good. Losing the Fire Flower feels bad, but can he finish the level? A little bit of precision on those jumps, not too bad. He's to the goal, and he's got it clear. Dobbs in a little bit of trouble on this level. That's not going to happen. Big concern for Germ Dove is having enough lives to finish this out. He's okay as long as he doesn't lose a couple per level, but, you know, usually you gotta figure 2-3 lives to clear. So it's a definite disadvantage to be on a low life count. as Chaos Legion gets another clear, gets a few 1-ups for his trouble as well. Hourglass tried to slow fall, not sure what was below, and then ends up being a bed of munchers below. Also, you have to trigger that thwomp before you fall down there, or else you're not going to trigger him. This is interesting. Kind of looks like it's a Kaizo interpretation of one of the SMB3 forts. Maybe not Kaizo, but a challenge reimagining, let's call it that. Hourglass has the tech that time, and onto the axe.
Yes, I'm a winner. Let's go.
Only 1 life left for Hourglass. That's not a good place to be in. Clear condition for Dobbs. Grab at least 150 coins. That's a lot of coins if you're not grabbing them 50 at a time. Dobbs doesn't like what he sees, and he's going to move on. So just because it's expert doesn't necessarily tell you everything about it. Sometimes it's an easier level where people have just struggled and ran the clear rate down. Other times, it's a super expert level that has just slipped in there maybe because it hasn't gotten enough plays yet. As Hourglass finishes the level and gets a couple 1-ups to keep himself alive, both figuratively and literally. Chaos Legion with a Bowser fight. Clown Car helps, though.
Let's go.
And Bowser's down. That's going to lead right to the axe and another clear. And another clear for Germ Dove as well, who's also going to add a couple lives to his count when they were desperately needed. Got 3D World level for Hourglass. And again, I have a perpetual fear in 3D World that we're going to run into a Meowser fight. And those can be painfully slow. His exploration finds a warp block. Speaking of a Meowser fight, well, maybe not a required fight, but it is a Meowser right at the start for Chaos Legion, who gets squished under the Thwomp. So the Thwomp's not an instant kill in SMB3, but they can certainly crush you, and that's what happened for Chaos Legion. He got pinned under them. So when he takes the damage, it's going to be a kill. This time he takes the high road and gets over them. Meowser's on the chase. And more Thwomps. That's enough Thwomps that Chaos Legion decides he wants to be somewhere else. Just I'll pause on my part as I'm alerting our runners to the remaining time. Try to be as fair to them as I can be. We've got Hourglass currently at 8 clears, Dobbs at 6, Germ Dove at 5, and Chaos at 6. So this is coming down to it. Again, in part 3, they must complete the levels in time. Starting it not good enough. Dobbs with the SMW speedrun level here, looks like. Little bit of Kaizo to it, not terrible. But how tight is the timer? The nice thing about expert speedrun levels is usually the timer is more forgiving. It's not going to be the frame perfect of a super expert.
Let's go.
So you're probably seeing runners on their final level at this point. Maybe they could get another quick one in, but as far as what they're on, this is probably it. Koas Legion gets another clear. There's like a 1 minute time limit there. Well, obviously, when you don't have a minute left, that doesn't work. The end is near. Hourglass Koas Legion gonna turn in 8s for their final. Start getting this tallied up. Dobbs with 7. And I messed things up, so moment while I fix that. Actually, let me see if I can get the runners in here, and bear in mind, this does not actually reflect the final standings. But it should let our runners come in and join us. Okay, Germdove not going to be able to stick around, so that we know already. And hopefully I'll have some company here soon. Koas with 8 and Hourglass with 8. So it looks like by a 1-point margin on the final score, Dobbs did just enough to squeak out the win this week. Final score of 5 versus a 6 for Koas Legion. Germdove was at 8, Hourglass at 9, so a very tight battle between them. And hopefully, you're able to get some words in here shortly. Don't you love it when technology does everything flawlessly? Hey, don't forget to vote for your favorite level today. Question in chat, did Koas's level count? Yes, that it was his 8th, and that was absolutely in time. Fair question. But the way this works is we have a Discord channel where the time updates are posted in, so our runners add their count in as they go, and then when I announced time, that level was already completed, so that's how we're very certain he touched it in time. And Koas Legion and Dobbs have joined us. So first of all, Dobbs, GG on the win. You squeaked it out.
GG.
GG, guys.
So y'all made this one of the tighter weeks. Just 1 point separation between you. So, flip anything, and that would have done the.
Yeah, it's phase 2. I just need to get better at phase 2.
Yeah, I feel like that's the one spot where I've got a slight edge over Koas.
Oh, yeah,
if I get a little bit lucky on phase 1 or phase 3, I can just barely manage a win.
All right, so Hourglass not able to join us. So we had to go to a backup level. I guess that's a good enough place to start. So Snowman's Land was actually the backup level we had to go with. What'd you think of that one?
I mean, it was a lot better than the Clear Sky one, that's for sure.
I think that one ended up being our quickest clear of any level in Part 1, by the way.
Yeah,
Can we?
the Bob McName level always wind up being more about optimization, it seems, and pretty easy for a first clear as long as you play it a little careful.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm just not a fan of coin collecting, to be honest. I just do not like it.
well, having seen all of the 5 levels from this week, would you care to share what your favorites were?
I don't think I had a favorite this time around. They were just, I don't know, either pretty confusing or, I don't know, just wasn't really much of a fan. Good levels, obviously, just they weren't really meant for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was more a
Eh,
fan of the Kaizo level than the desert temple level that we had. The Kaizo one was hard as nails, but very straightforward. The desert temple, that exploration always gets me nervous that I'm missing some corner of the map that I'm supposed to be grabbing a coin at.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I found the Kaizo level to be a bit confusing. When I was collecting the coins, I'm like, I bet we don't need these. And then obviously I made it to the end and without Link, and I'm like, yep, we don't need this. And then as soon as that happened, phase 1 was over for Dobbs, I believe, and I was like, well, there it goes.
Yeah, I made the same mistake of trying to get those coins and then having to try and cheat my way into the end from the key door.
Yeah.
This is a case where I think the lead in terms of not just progress in the level, but actually completing the level, I believe it changed hands 3 times in Part 1. So was very competitive through the blind section.
Yeah, a very, very good levels indeed. The things that you can do with Link is crazy.
Well, as far as the people's vote so far, it's Link's crossbow training.
Yeah,
Were either one of
that's
you the
probably...
one that actually finally hit the POW and then it didn't help anyways?
No, I honestly forgot all about the POW. I was just trying to blow
Yeah.
up the blocks with the bombs and then try and shoot the pokey as much as I could. But I thought I had a really good run and I was nowhere near world record. So I was like, well, there it goes again.
I managed to hit that POW, and I was hoping that would just knock out the pokey immediately, but I don't know if he needs to be a bit more on screen or something. It didn't seem to do any good for me.
Yeah, I don't think he was technically loaded yet, so that was tricky not only in the shot, but the timing. So you both are veterans of this weekly. You've done it several times. Make your pitch to anybody who's on the sidelines about joining us next week.
Again, like I would say any other week, just join. Try it out, have fun, see what happens. If you see that you might not do well, like on phase 2 when it comes to speed running, kind of like me, just in your casual time, try and play any blind level as fast as you possibly can. Like in the expert range, that'll usually get you pretty well in phase 1. See how well you do within the time limit that you give yourself. See what happens.
Yeah, I was very much on the fence with joining the first week, and I'm really glad I did because this has been a whole lot of fun. But yeah, if you're interested in trying it out but worried about maybe what kind of levels you're going to face up against, join the Discord, check out some of the levels from the past races, just give them a try, see if you like it.
Yeah, I believe we have 15 weeks now. I ended up missing week 1 because I didn't know anything about the races until the previous week, until the next week. And again, I just joined. I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I was going to play week 1 levels, totally forgot. And I'm like, okay, I'll just go for it. Ended up, I don't know, winning first or second, something like that. And I'm just like, oh, okay. And then obviously, when you get that first one out, you're definitely going to feel more confident on the following one. But again, just play levels, usually in the expert range, see how well you do, and go from there.
Yeah, when in doubt, practice your expert levels and practice the skipping because it certainly makes a difference. Speaking of that, we've really seen the clear count get a lot better. I feel like in the last 3 weeks, we've seen a big uptick in those.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like as Mario Maker progresses, levels get better. You start to spot the jank a lot more, so therefore you know what to look for, whether if it comes to like a hidden block or like hitting coins, stuff like that.
Yeah, endless is just really random sometimes. So like the first few weeks that we switched over to expert for the weekly, I was knocking out 9, 10 levels, and then a couple weeks ago I got 4.
Yeah.
And so you just don't know what you're gonna get.
All right, well, before I announce the final results of the poll, give everybody who may be in chat a chance to click that link and vote one more time. If you want to lobby for any of those, feel free, or if you just want to give your final thoughts, go ahead.
Yeah, again, I think Link Crossbow's training was probably my favorite, but again, the levels in general for me this week weren't all that great just because of how I deal with levels. But in general, I appreciate the races. I hope we get more levels submitted from either people that are trying for the first time or in general. And hopefully we get more racers once the whole holiday thing goes out. And thank you for having us.
Links to the website for the weekly and the Discord are in chat. Please feel free to click on those. It is Link's Crossbow Training that takes the viewer's choice as number 1 in the voting, and Snowman's Land with More Spice goes in as your second favorite this week. Hope everybody had fun. I have been Trenton. It's been a pleasure to be with you on this Saturday afternoon. If you want more Mario Maker in your life on Speed Gaming, well, check out Monday morning because we are restreaming on Speed Gaming, Japanese Gaming Marathon, and there'll be an English broadcast on Speed Gaming that will include some expert runs. That will be Monday morning. That is the 30th. I believe the time is 7:30 Eastern. Of course, it's a marathon, so subject to some variation. But some fun marathon shenanigans going out there if you want to check it out. Say thank you to everybody. Hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you next time around.